realestate.com.au. Know the value of your home today. Track your property now.
To property now, and with more freedoms for cities such as Sydney and Melbourne within sight, demand for property is reaching all-time highs. Joining me now from realestate.com.au is John Healy. John, sales activity is also on the rise around the country and particularly in the lockdown states.
Yeah, that's right. Sales activity around those lockdown states of New South Wales, Victoria and the ACT has really turned a corner, and the PropTrack Housing Market Indicators report that was out this week found that sales volumes in Victoria rose 60% last week, with those in-person property inspections helping to drive confidence there. Sales were up 68% in the ACT last week and up 4% in New South Wales, just ahead of the easing of restrictions there on Monday. Nationally, sales were up just over 12% around the country last week to a 13-week high, which was really good news. And preliminary sales volumes are sitting at 47.5% higher so far this year than during the same time last year. Also higher is demand for property, and with a limited amount of supply on the market, we've seen views per listing also hit a record level in September, up nearly 60% year on year. And of course, prices are up 21.5% in the 12 months to September. And with that in mind, it's probably little surprise that we're also seeing seven-figure searches really becoming the new norm now. They hit a record high in September. That's searches for properties of $1 million and more hitting a record high. They accounted for 44% of total searches from the combined capital city markets last week. That was a historic high. And conversely, searches for properties under $500,000 hit an historic low last month, accounting for just under 13% of total searches.
And now, of course, since Monday, Sydney has been taking its first steps out of lockdown. What impact is that having on the auction market this weekend?
Well, in-person auctions return to the streets of Sydney this weekend, which is terrific news, of course, and there's plenty of activity planned. 640 auctions are scheduled for the Sydney market this weekend. That's an increase of 9.5% week on week and up 51% year on year. And there's another big weekend scheduled in Sydney next weekend as well, with more than 870 auctions currently scheduled for that market. So the spring selling season Part 2 really kicks off for Sydney this weekend. Melbourne also expecting its second Super Saturday in a row, with over 1,100 properties set to go to market there. That's actually the second biggest auction weekend of the year in Melbourne, which is great news. And again, the week following that, we're also seeing another Super Saturday penciled in as well. So that could be 3 in a row for the Melbourne market. In-person auctions also returning Canberra this weekend, which is also good news. Numbers there actually down a little bit week on week to 92 auctions scheduled, but nationally right around the country we're expecting just over 2,600 homes to go under the hammer this weekend, which is up an incredible 194% on auctions at this time last year.
Yeah, big weekend ahead. And as you mentioned, in-person auctions are back on in Sydney this weekend. But how did the final weekend of online-only auctions fare in that city and elsewhere last weekend?
Well, on the clearance results available for Sydney last weekend, those online auctions produced some really great results again. A 90% clearance rate was recorded. It was down around 3% on its clearance rate a week earlier, but still very strong. Melbourne also had its weakest clearance rate last weekend in 13 weeks. But again, due to that Super Saturday being held in Melbourne, that is likely the reason, with so many more homes going under the hammer there. Numbers were also down in Brisbane and Adelaide week on week, but up slightly in the ACT, which, like it has been all of this year, continues to be a really strong seller's market.
And John, with something of a spring in the step of the market at the moment, which homes have buyers been circling this week?
Well, the most popular homes this week that are also going to auction this weekend, dominated by homes in Victoria and Queensland. And those family homes have proven popular this weekend. 4 and 5 bedroom homes feature heavily on this list. A good spread of prices from $830,000. The guide there starting for the home in Greenvale in Melbourne, up to a guide of just under $2 million for the home there in Kew. But taking a look at our most viewed home of the week now, this one is in Noosa Heads in Queensland, and you'd be expecting to pay a little bit more than that for this stunning home. This is a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom home on just over 900 square metres. It's in a really exclusive little part of Noosa Heads there, and it's only a very recently completed home, recently finished. It's on the market as a turnkey property, and that means that buyers can actually purchase all of the luxury designer furniture and accessories that you can see in the pictures right now with the home. So it's a really luxury home with even more luxury thrown in. This home is set to go under the hammer there in Noosa Heads on Saturday morning, and given its popularity and the quality of the home, it's likely there'll be a lucky new owner taking those keys not long after, Danica.
Absolutely, not just the home but the furniture as well. Absolutely gorgeous natural light too. John Healy, thank you. We'll see you again next week.